Hello. It is, what is it? Tuesday, the 25th of June in 2019. And it's a surprise midweek stream. I felt like ran some code and I didn't have anything else to do this evening, so figured I would stream. Also, I'm not going to be around this weekend, so I figured I'd get my weekly quota of stream in. Yeah, let's start with recap, since that's usually what I start with. Haven't done too much, although last time we worked on this branch, which rewrote the import rewriting stuff from PyTest, which apparently people are happy with this patch. It fixed a bunch of issues, probably fixed a bunch more. I just didn't have time to figure out which issues it did and didn't fix. But we built this on stream. I ended up reworking it a little bit afterwards, also because I found more bugs that it fixed, and so I wrote some extra tests. I also realized that I shouldn't be using a PEP 302 importer, and instead I should write a PEP 451 importer, which for the most part was just changing find module to find spec and then moving some of the code around. But it was a little bit different than what we talked about on stream, so I had to rework that a bit. I also realized that so we were having a lot of trouble with this like is package function. Where is it? Is package. Yeah, we were having a bunch of trouble with this is package function, and I had like a really gross solution to it, and I really didn't like it. But it turns out all you have to do to not need that function at all, where is it, is to set submodule search locations. Unfortunately, we could just steal those from the basic Python loader, and so that made that go away. So I spent a bunch of time on stream trying to get that right, and turns out I didn't need it at all, which is what I suspected in the end. I also found like one tiny like documentation bug, although I don't know how up to date the PEPs are supposed to be. Like, are they a living standard, or are they just supposed to be the reference for the first time that they're written? Wasn't so sure about that, but it was in particular this create module function. And here it says that this is optional, and if we look down here, in some uncommon cases, the loader should also implement create module, which to me makes me think that I shouldn't have implemented it, but we'll get to that in a bit. Hey, what's up, Tati? And here it even shows that like their sample code checks whether this attribute exists at all, and like just if it doesn't exist, it would be none here, and then it automatically built like. But when I left out that function, the import machinery just like crashed and burned. So clearly it's required, but returning none from it is apparently fine, because that just gets handled. I'm not sure why the implementation differs from the PEP. I'm not sure if that's a bug or not. I guess I could look on the bug tracker and see if anyone else had reported that. PEP 451 create module optional. Don't have it be optional. I don't like that it's optional, and I don't like that it can return none. Huh. Weird. Return none. Yeah. And or maybe I should fix my implementation because it sounds like they're talking about getting rid of the none thing. Oh, I was supposed to subclass this? Seems weird. Maybe I'll comment on this and be like, which this that one? Just stumbled on this, and as I was updating PyTest's import hook, I noticed in PEP 451 this is still it's very late in Argentina. Goodbye. Hey, thanks for stopping by at least. Yeah, the weekday streams don't work out very well for a good chunk of the people that watch the stream, which is unfortunate, but whatever. What's up, Sandor dude? Are you Sand or are you dude? Hello, hello. I noticed PEP 451, this is still marked as optional. Then again... yeah, that's a weird name, thanks. Yeah. Then again, I don't know whether PEPs are supposed to be living standards or not, or if there was a PEP which supersedes that one with better direction. Eh, close enough. Anyway, we finished off this this importer thing. Actually, I didn't even read the rest of this, whether none is acceptable or not. Okay, it seems like they were okay with leaving none. Oh, that sends me an email, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Go away. I don't need you. But yeah, finished implementing this. What else did I work on between Saturday and today? I fixed a couple small things in PyTest. This was just kind of a nice syntax cleanup in Python 2. When we supported Python 2, we couldn't use this raise from none syntax to prevent chained exceptions, so we had to do this weird like side assignment and then raise directly afterwards. Tiny cleanup there. Now that PyTest 5 is not going to support Python 2, so it's easy to do that. Oh, my import lib patch broke something in PyTest, so I had to go back and fix that. It was trying to rewrite C extension files, or shared object files, and getting this value error. It turned out it was very, very easy, like one-line fix. Just like a quick as instance, which is enough to do that. Oh, this was like a kind of big thing that I had to do. So I wrote this setup CFG format tool a while ago. The idea behind it is to like do a bunch of normalization in the setup tools metadata and do that automatically. And some of the stuff that does is like normalize the name, set long description if you have a readme, set the license if that exists, set up Python requires based on a bunch of heuristics, and set classifiers. And this is where there was a weird thing. I guess I forgot to document this. Maybe I'll go back and document that now. But yeah, it added classifiers based on the minimum Python version. But it didn't remove them if you dropped that version. So like say I dropped Python 2, it should remove these automatically. Didn't do that, so I need to fix that. Also does some sort. Anyway, I noticed that, I think I already talked about it. I noticed that it wasn't removing classifiers, and so I added some code that did that. I added some code that removed classifiers that didn't match the version. I also found a bug in MyPy while doing this. It wouldn't be a day ending in Y without finding a bug in MyPy. Hey, what's up, outdated version? What is that emoji? Oh my dog. Good emoji name. But yeah, I got that working. And anything else? Oh, I fixed a bug in Talks that was totally my fault. There's too many objects that have a dot name, and so I just assumed that this was already a requirement object, but it's not. It's a Talks requirement object, which has a name that's not super useful. So I needed to wrap this. This was actually a change that I made way long ago, but we only just released it recently. And yeah. Oh, that's another thing that I can do. I can clean up all of my test env. I can clean up all of these in my talks.ini file. Well, there's not that many left. Because now in Python or pip install talks upgrade. So in the latest version of talks, it has my feature that I built on stream. Updated version says, "How's your Tuesday going?" It's going pretty good. I ported a big service that worked to Python 3 today and didn't break anything. Knock on wood, cross fingers. I assume it works. There weren't any error logs. Well, there were some error logs, but we found it was a bug that existed before my code, so not my problem. But it went pretty well. Also went to the local food truck park for lunch, which was pretty good. I did have one. So I've been biking partway to work and then biking partway home just to get like periodic exercise or whatever. And I don't know. I'm the type of person that I like going fast. I don't like going slow. So I tend to bike pretty quickly. And I was on my street, which is a like 25-mile-an-hour road, with a bunch of stop signs in it. So it's one of those roads where like you go for a block, then you stop, then you go for a block, then you stop, then you go for a block, and then you stop. And there was this Porsche behind me, one of those like SUV. Let's see. Let's see if we can grab an image of it. It kind of looked like this one, but it was this color. Maybe it was this one. Yeah, it was this one, but black. There's a Porsche behind me that was visibly frustrated that they kept ending up behind me at the stop sign because I would go fast enough that like I could do one block faster than the car could do one block. And after like 3 sets of stop signs, they were like further and further behind me because like they're 4-way stops, so sometimes other cars got to go. But I was usually the first to the 4-way stops, so as a bike I went faster. And in the last stretch, the block stopped having stop signs, and so I sped off because I was like, I don't want this car to pass me. I'm better than that. And I hear behind me, and this car just like floored it and went like 50 miles an hour down a 25-mile-an-hour road just to pass me on my bike. And there's a guy that was just walking down the sidewalk, and he shouts to me, "Guy has small penis." I just cracked up laughing. But anyway, that was my Here's my fun story for today. Just because you said that prod lift is gonna shut itself down. Yeah, I hope not. It is a tier 0 service, so it's pretty important to the execution of lift, but I don't know, all the tests passed, and for the most part it was pretty straightforward. But yeah, outdated version. I'm actually gonna work on your feature today, your feature request today. Which is going to give all-repos clone a way to do non-shallow, or not, I guess it's not shallow, but like full branch clones. Hey, that was me, yeah. So I did some thinking about this, and I've had this email in my inbox left unread for weeks now. And I'm finally gonna finish it, like get that done. But it's been too long, so let's make this happen. Oh, I guess I wanted to show you the feature that I was gonna show you the new Tox feature that I did. So right now in the contributing documentation for pre-commit, tox-e. Yeah, it tells you to run this tox-e vm command, but now there's this nice thing called devenv, which allows you to set up a virtual environment based on the tox configuration. Wow, just ignoring my email. Jeez, you should be what's the word? You should be very happy that I've left it unread. Most emails, I just like, if I don't do it in a week, I'm gonna delete it, and then I'm just never gonna do it ever. But I've kept this one unread because I told myself I was gonna complete it. Yeah, so Tox now has this devenv feature, which will create a virtual environment from the Tox configuration, and so you don't have to configure that manually in your tox.ini. Which a lot of my projects do, but now I don't need to do that anymore, so I can just delete this. I built all that feature just so I could delete 3 lines of code. I'm touched, yeah. 3.13. I'm pretty happy with that feature. I mean, I wrote the feature, so of course I'm happy. But I'm glad to be able to get rid of all of these VM references. Where did those go? All of these eventually. Oh, including one in all repos, so I'll have to clean all those up. But these are all copy paste. They can all go away now. But let me make this PR while I'm thinking about it. Cool. Who was I talking to about this? I gotta CC whoever it was. Yeah. Yov. Is it just me, or does the music seem really quiet today? Or is it a good volume? Well, right now we're at the beginning of the song, so it's not get to a point where there's actually sound. I don't know, let me know if it's quiet. It's supposed to be chill, so maybe it's supposed to be quiet. I don't know. Okay, so remote branches. So the idea that I had for this is, and I'm intentionally using a different clone and a different example and the example config so that I don't leak my GitHub tokens on stream, which I haven't done yet. I've leaked my stream token and my coveralls token, but easy to rotate. But the GitHub one's a little bit more important. So my idea here is to set, so kind of like we have like exclude and there's a couple other top level options. I think I would do like full clone true and default this to false. Or maybe more accurately it would be all branches true. Something like that. And figure out a way to make that a thing. I think I like the idea of all branches. None of these have teeth. How does this work? Oh, I see. This is how the defaulting works. Got it. Got it. So all branches is a pool. I don't even remember how this code works. I assume what I would want to do is write a test to start with. This is probably the most basic test. It does not crash with no repo. Okay. Moves directories. Clone non-mastered default branches. That seems like a good idea. File config non-default. Oh, I made a separate thing for that. Test all just clones all branches true. We'll just start debugging that and then hopefully end up with a failing test and then we'll get a passing. Oh, I can use devenv already. And the cool thing is you can pass -e and it'll pick that version of Python to dev. So if I wanted to use Python 3.8 for this, I can do that directly. And it'll reuse the Tox configurations, so I don't need to worry about twiddling on the packages or anything. And it'll install it editable by default, so I don't have to worry about setting that up. It's pretty nice. Right. And I can just get to testing right away. Test close all branches true. Okay. So that is what our config looks like. And so we need to set that that flag in here. Put that to true. Config right. Hey, what's up, Princess Rika? You know, yeah. You've noticed, you've got me. Oh, here we go. I'm slightly embarrassed, but it's just the way things go. Config dot. How does this work? Or is dir1 the source repos? I think. Yes. Yes, it is. Neat. Making fun of people automatically. Are you talking about my the chatbot? The chatbot's just a dumb meme. It was created by one of my followers. Well, actually, he came up with the idea, and then I added it to the chatbot. His bot was a lot better than mine, but just added this like very basic functionality. There's a couple other words that it'll trigger on as well. It'll trigger on Nano, Linux, and even Windows. The joke is, well, I think it's funny. Now that Windows subsystem for Linux, Windows subsystem for Linux now ships a Linux kernel with the latest version of Windows. So it's a joke that it's GNU/Windows. That's what that's about. Didn't mean to have the bot make fun of you, but it's just a dumb joke. It's just a joke, I swear. Not how. It's not what. So we probably want to add a branch to this directory and make sure that branch ends up in the final. We do have a get repo here, and we do have a branch, so we can start by adding a branch to this. How do I do that though? I'll config non-default. I think we just need to do git-c file config.dir1. So in that repo, we want to check out master to some other branch. Didn't make it shorter. Okay. And then we want to clone. And we should expect to see 2 branches in the resulting repo1 directory. Check output. I can spell output. File config.output.dir.join repo1 branch. Very nice output of git branch. Porcelain output. Let's see. Column dash list branch list. No. Column display branch listing in columns. C configuration variable column.branch. Seems the same to me. What other options would there be? Dash format? String that interpolates a field name from a branch ref being shown. What are the field names? In unspecified, format defaults to object name, object type, ref name. I do this. Oh, that kind of does what I want. It does not do what I want. Is there more information about the fields that are available? Here's some more fields. Ref name, object name. I just want the branch name. Is that not a thing? Percent head. Is that a thing? Nope. It just ends up being a star. Great. Alright, so we won't bother parsing it. Okay, so we should expect to see master and then actually we should see what, M2 and then master? Or B2. Okay, so that's our test that will definitely be failing. New missing one positional. Yeah, that's because we already started implementing. Clone. No, config. All branches equals contents.get all branches or true. Wait, no. False. Default to false. That's the existing here. So you pass it into the branches. That was not what I expected. It treated B2 as the default branch, which is not what I want. Let's switch back to master after that. Okay, this is the failure that I expect to see. Oh wait, that's not even the right thing. I need it to do get branch dash remote. And then that'll show should show origin master and origin slash B2. Origin slash B2 and origin slash master. Okay, so that's our expected output. With faces indented. Okay, so now we have our failing test. Now let's figure out how to fix that code. So I seem to remember that this does some complicated stuff to set up the branches in a way that's fast. So it first runs get init, which just adds the remote. Tusk Esports Edboy asks, what are you making? I'm working on this pull request, or this issue, but I'm working on this tool that I wrote called all-repos. The idea behind all-repos is, well, it kind of says on the tin, it clones all of your repositories, and then you can search or replace or do a bunch of like neat refactoring and stuff, and tries to automate having a lot of repositories. It's kind of a very like me problem sort of thing, because I have hundreds of repositories and they're all set up very similarly. But I use this tool all the time to like look for code that I've written before, or like try and figure out if my user page would load. But let me give you an example that I was looking at earlier. So I set up talks in almost all of my repositories, and I used to follow this pattern where I would set up this talks environment that would always create a virtual environment, and I wanted to find all of the repositories that had done that, and so I used all-repos grep with my pattern and a file name, and it showed me basically a grep against all of the repositories. Neat, I'm making an Android app in Python. How does that work? I've played with, what is it called? Where's my damn phone? Trying to remember the name of the app. App. UPython, which is like a port of Python that runs on Android. Oh, you're using Kiwi, okay. Or Kiwi, or I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. Pronunciation. This is gonna tell me. Wow, there's like a how to pronounce
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Kiwi. Kiwi.
Kiwi. Yo, there's so many other programming ones.
Istio. Istio.
Istio. Wait, I want to hear how somebody pronounces this.
Kubernetes.
Kates.
Kates.
Kubernetes.
This sounds like somebody I know.
Kubernetes. Kubernetes. Kubernetes.
Oh, fuck. Who is that? I think I know this person. This is one that I said wrong for the longest time.
Nginx.
For the longest time I thought it was Nginx, which sounds pretty vulgar, but that was my only say it inside my head thing until somebody actually pronounced it for me. Oh, this one is hotly contested.
Kube CTL. Kube Cuddle. Kube Control.
Well, this is all the same person.
Kube CTL. Kube Cattle. Kube Cattle. Kube Control. Kube Control.
Oh, they're all different. Oh, do they have G Unicorn? Let's see. There's one person that has done this.
G Unicorn.
G Unicorn. Is that that
G
person says it?
Unicorn.
I've heard this one. I've heard Gunicorn. I've heard Junicorn. That's what I say. What else have I heard? That damn fucking server thing that sucks. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Cube Cuddle. Yeah. I really don't like adding CTL to the end of things. Like, I don't know how to pronounce this one.
MinGW.
Oh, that would be my guess. Okay. Maybe this one's generated.
MinGW.
Is this Xamarin?
Xamarin.
Look at all these things I'm learning. This one should be XAMPP, or is it XAMPP?
Xamp.
Just XAMPP? What?
XAMP.
What? Oh, it's PHP. This is not the one I was thinking of. What's the Microsoft one? That is it XAML? What it's called? Pencil, yes.
XAML.
Okay.
XAML.
Right. I'm not wrong there. Do GNU. Oh, there's only one for this.
GNU.
GNU.
GNU. GNU. GNU.
GNU is an operating system that is free software. That is, it respects users' freedom. The development of GNU made it possible to use a computer without software that would trample your freedom. Yes, because Microsoft is constantly trampling my freedom because I run Windows. What other good ones are there? I mean, Kate's was pretty good.
Kubernetes.
This is the same one as the other one. So funny thing about Kubernetes is there's like 4 different pronunciations at work from various people. So like most of the people it's Kubernetes or Kubernetes or Kubernetes, or Kubernetes or Kubernetes. But I've just decided, you know what? I'm tired of like trying to argue about what this is pronounced. I'm just gonna intentionally pronounce it wrong. I'm going with Kubernetes. Just to mess with everyone. Wait, what is an X?
Axure.
Heard of Azure, but not that. Oh, is this not pronounced Seuss?
Susa.
What?
Susa. Susa. Susa.
What? I'm learning so many things, if that's right. This one's Lucene. I know this one.
Lucene.
Yeah. This thing. Infrastructure as a service.
Ice.
Ass. Ass. They really need to get a clip of Stallman pronouncing it. What an unbiased description, yeah. And maybe yelling at someone too. DevOps.
DevOps.
Oh, these are pretty good. How would someone not be able to pronounce FreeBSD?
FreeBSD.
Okay. Oh, why is my phone going off? Oh, it's Discord. What does Discord want? Oh. Okay, anyway. What was I doing? Oh. I think... The fetch reset currently doesn't get the configuration. It's actually really warm in my house, so I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Oh, I wonder if they have. Oh, I forgot to mention my favorite pronunciation of Kubernetes. I have a coworker that says Kubernetes. I just can't get over that. I wonder if they have ACL, no, or AMI, which I've heard pronounced Amy, and I've heard well, it's like I think more canonically ACL and not ACL. But the first time I said ACL, someone was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Hey, what's up, Sarcastic Dante? Oh, STD. I wonder if they have that. Like the standard namespace. Nope. Disappoint how to pronounce.cc. I wonder if you can submit one. How to pronounce... Oh, this is literally just for programming and computer science terms. That's amazing. What is sklearn?
sklearn, sklearn,
I'm gonna say sklearn though.
sklearn, sklearn,
sklearn. How do people pronounce pseudo?
Sudo.
Oh, sudo. Oh, I guess it's super user do, so that makes sense.
Pseudo.
Sudo.
This is the more correct way. This is how
Pseudo.
I pronounce it. Anyway, that's not bad. I'm disappointed that they don't have ACL, AMI, and standard. Those seem like they should be pretty standard ones. Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to decide based on the config. Oh, I guess I could just do if config dot. Yeah, sudo actually stands for something. Yeah, it's not just weird words. That was like the biggest mind blown for me, because like I don't know, I was never young enough to care about these things. Like the first time I used sudo, someone just was like, run sudo. But yeah, super user do. Huh. Kind of a backronym here where it gained a new meaning over time. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, that's sudo for you. Let's see how much of this fetch reset that I'll reuse. Actually, probably all of it. We'll use functools.partial. Fetch reset. Oh, that's so frustrating. It's like 4 characters too long. Whatever, terrible variable name. I can call this fetch. Yeah. Or out. Oh, 2 character too long. It's almost 4 a.m. Sarcastic Dante, my dude. Get some sleep. This'll be on YouTube later. You can always watch it later. Whatever. Bad functioning. Fine. I did. I woke up 4 hours ago. Your sleep schedule is so messed up, my dude. Why are you? Guywork says Sudo. And I had him arrested. Yeah, that guy sounds like a cop. All branches disable. If all branches otherwise do this. So this won't be able to fix. How do I make it fix old things? Git config remote.origin. Does this work? Git config remote.origin. Fetch. How do I retrieve this value? Instead of sudo. Yeah, I say sudo. How strictly typed is Python? Is it similar to TypeScript where you can use them but you don't really have to? Yeah, it's gradual typing, or at least that's what I'm using is gradual typing. You can force MyPy to increase or decrease the amount of type coverage, but yeah, most of my repos have no type coverage. This one has 100% type coverage. It kind of varies on what project and like whether I want it to support Python 2 or not. Hey, what's up, Juan? Haven't seen you in a while. How's your Tuesday going, or Wednesday probably, given your time zone? I determined that the git config dash git. Oh, it's all just one dot. Oh, and I messed up my config by doing that. This is what I want. Oh, did I mess it up? Git config remote.origin. There we go. So I want to set it to this. Git command remote.origin dot fetch that value. Which bugs are you implementing today? Wow. I mean, it must be a bug if I'm writing Python, right? So the thing that I'm working on today is I'm working on all-repos, which is my distributed grep refactoring tool thing. Runs sed on all the things kind of dealio. The feature that I'm adding today is one that was asked for by Outdated Version, who's in the chat, which allows you to clone repositories but have them reference all of the remote branches instead of just the master branch. Oh, good. Been writing some documentation. Implemented ISO 26300. Oh, the open document format. Interesting. Is that for NIM, I guess? If I had to guess? Available for editable documents. XSLT! Some of the first code I ever wrote was XSLT. Oddly enough. Or the first like code that I got paid for. Didn't Google have something similar? So they had Google Code, I think is what you're thinking of. Which is now no longer a thing. There's an archive of it, I guess. What's something I could search for? Argparse dot argument parser. Drugs. But yeah, the idea with this is it clones all of your repositories on disk, so you can do stuff with that. ODT. Is XML strict? A DOM where only P exists. Can use raw SVG though. All style is done by unique IDs. Interesting. Oh, it's a strict XML, yeah. Oh, yeah. ODF sounds fun. Git-repo. The multiple Git repository tool. Huh. Link is purple. Oh, it's because it's the link I have open. I think this is their thing that they use for mono repo management. It's a little bit different, if I recall correctly. I have played with this tool before. This is kind of a Git replacement. Although this seems like similar to the all-repos stuff. I think their idea with this was to abstract away Get and Mercurial, and then they just never implemented the Mercurial stuff, if I remember talking to someone about this. Maybe it was SVN? I don't know. Oh, the open doc standard costs money to download? It wouldn't surprise me. It's only as open as it can be. Cool. But yeah, I'm I'm working on this. I'll need to compute the default up here. I heard Google does a monorepo for most of their projects. Does anyone know if that's legit? I know it's... Well, I've talked to people that have worked at Google. I don't know firsthand whether it's true, but I trust the I trust what the other people have told me, and yeah, they use a monorepo for pretty much everything. They have like special tooling that makes version control work better for monorepos. In the same way that like Facebook has an entire version control team, and like they have their own They have their own fork of Mercurial. Jam those two words together. They have their own fork of Mercurial that makes that work well, and like their own like file system driver thing. I don't know, crazy town stuff to make version control scale to that many people in a single repository. Like, and like, don't get me wrong, I think monorepos can work if you have a whole team that makes them work. But most companies can't afford to have an entire version control team that's literally their job to make Git scale to that many people. And so most companies that have a monorepo end up hating it. Terrible situation. Like like the monorepo at Yelp, which had 3 or 4 million lines of Python and hundreds of developers trying to jam commits into it, hopelessly stuck in old Python. I'm so glad I don't deal with that anymore. But yeah, that was a mess. Hey, what's up, Harry Poker? Thank you for the follow. Every follow counts. Lyft got rid of their monorepo, well, their biggest, oldest monorepo, which is pretty cool. It was also the last PHP repository, so we're pretty glad to have PHP gone. I guess there's still some PHP, but it doesn't really like get touched at all. And we don't serve any rides out of the PHP repository. They're mostly just like code for internal stuff. But that. So let's see if this is enough to make this work. Oh, this might be the easiest patch ever. Oh, I forgot. Dueling. Oh. We need, in the all branches case, we need to fetch everything from origin. Actually, I bet I can just get away with this. Lyft sends me a push notification literally every day telling me I have a 25% off coupon. They're trying to re-engage you on the platform outdated version. I should make this test do both things first. I should clone and then change the configuration. And assert that it changed it. Hey, what's up, Rizari? Thank you for the follow. Sorry if I messed up your name, but Every follow counts, and welcome to the stream. Harry Poker, what is going on there? This is a test. I'm working on a tool that manages, not that, where is it? I'm working on a tool which manages a bunch of Git repositories, and so the tests create and tear down Git repositories, and I'm basically asserting their the implementation of this. I'm working on a feature which controls whether all of the branches get cloned or only some of the branches get cloned, and so if but by default it should only clone the default branch, otherwise it should clone all of the branches. Lyft is kind of expensive in Cornfield, Nebraska, though. Yeah, that doesn't surprise. We don't actually have, I mean, there's not that many people oh, there's 2 million people. That's actually more than I expected. I can literally not think of one major city in Nebraska, though. Other than, like, what is their capital? Oh, Lincoln is their capital. Oh, Omaha. Yeah, I've heard of Omaha. Their density. Population density, most. This is such a good map. Mostly right here on the edge of Nebraska, and then cornfields. Good luck looks tough. Well, I mean, the tool that I wrote is mostly done. This is just like a little feature on top of it. But it's not that complicated, although managing Git can be a little bit annoying. Yeah, Lincoln. Yeah, there was one time where I had all the capitals of all the U.S. states memorized, and like we had to get quizzed on it in high school. Don't remember many of them now. I also had to memorize all the Canadian provinces at some point. I don't remember why I needed to know that. That seems like not super. You can follow the interstate in that picture, really? Oh, is this the interstate? This here? Or this one here? Let me just side by side this. Map of Nebraska. Oh yeah, sure enough. There's 80, yeah. This is 80, and this is whatever this street road is. That was not what I hate when people do that. I don't know what this one is. Probably another interstate. Other principal highway. Cool story, bro. Canada's a cool state, yeah. Why are there some random cities all the way there? Yeah, literally just along the highway. Good strats for them. And then there's nothing up here. Dope. Cool. Test passes. Make sure all the other tests pass. Then I'll work on something else, because it's only been an hour, and it's already done. I guess I should document this. Configuration file looks roughly like this. Include, exclude, all branches. Default, false. Other, clone all of the branches, or just the default upstream branch. Cool. Why do you use subprocess to call Git instead of using a Python Git library? What is the one? What is the one that I know that I've used before? I know it's in these requirements. What's it called? Oh fuck, there's a lot of stuff here. What is that get client called? And I'll answer the question as soon as I find this. Like a Dulwich, that's what it's called. Right? Pure Python Git implementation. It didn't used to be Pure Python, it used to be C stuff. But, oh. Bullshit, Pure Python. Looks really Pure Python to me. What do you mean by Pure Python if it's got C in it? Oh, I see. Fine. Fine. I guess you can do Pure Python, but by default it uses C extension. The reason that I use the get CLI, I don't know. Easier to understand, in my opinion. And the last time I worked with Dulwich, it was really annoying because all of their APIs are bytes APIs. Maybe this one isn't, but used to be. Unless this is Python 2. Huh. I could have sworn all of their APIs were bytes before, and that's why I didn't like it, and that's why I wasn't going to use it again, but you're wrong there. But anyway, I use the get CLI because it's easier, in my opinion. Also, the overhead of using the subprocess versus doing it in process is not all that much. In fact, actually, I think I can parallelize more if I use subprocess because then I'm not limited by the Python global interpreter lock. I can just shell out and let those multiplex stuff. I guess I really hadn't thought too much about this. Maybe I should switch to using something like Dulwich. Although I'm sure I'll run into every edge case under the sun for that as well. There's PyGet or PyGet. PyGet 2. A set of Python bindings to the libget2 shared library. This requires probably libget2 installed to your system. Libget2. Low-level Git library. This is actually not what powers Git, if I remember correctly. It implements the core of Git, but it is not how Git works. It's a separate implementation. But this one is a binding to this library, which then you'd have to install that library, and I don't know. It's much more. It feels much more portable to just depend on the Git binary than to worry about installing a bunch of system packages or whatever. But I'll find the URL later. Yeah, send me that in Discord. Yes, this is done now. Allow or add setting to fetch all road branches. This is using old MyPy, so it's really slow, yeah. Update that real quick. I say real quick and then we have to sit through the install cycle. Banging me at work. I don't know why these are taking so long to install. network is fine, right? I mean, it is possible that it's because I'm streaming and uploading it in megabits per second. Actually, not that much. Be fine. Not saturated. Who knows though? Fortunately, this only needs to happen once. Wi-Fi is still slow. Oh, it's repopulating the cache, probably. Should be fast this time. Faster. Anyways. JL says, what's the goal today? Well, I finished the first goal, which is adding all branch fetching to all repos. Because by default it just uses the default branch when it fetches, but this this feature that I'm adding will allow it to fetch all of the branches. Hey, what's up, JL? Hi, by the way. Yeah. How's your Tuesday going, or Wednesday, or whatever day of the week it is? But yeah, I'm not really sure what I'll work on next. I'll probably just look through my GitHub issues and find something that sounds interesting and start hacking on it. Resolves 104. Let CI run through that. Okay, let's see what we've got on the background. Actually, let's open up like PyTest and see if there's anything interesting there. Those are always, well, not always, they're sometimes fun bugs to work on. Look at a fixture, call another fixture using the same parameter. What is going on here? Surely code highlighting will make it more obvious what is happening. But no one ever, but we're good anyway. A little easier to read at least. This means parameterize PyTest indirect. What is this website? PyTest tricks. Indirect. You can pass a keyword argument named indirect parameterize to change how its parameters are being passed to the underlying test function. You set indirect to false, omit the parameter, PyTest will treat the given parameters as is without any specialty. All of the parameters are stored in the special request figure. Ah. Huh. Literally never used that feature. I don't know why. I'm not sure why it would be useful. I don't know what this person's asking. I'll let someone else handle that issue. First dependency involving fixture X detected with pillow. What is fixture X? Never heard of that. Oh, fixture browser. Here's a giant list of packages. Install these and debug my problem for me. No thanks. NTY. I already looked at this one today. I already looked at that one today. Okay, so nothing super intriguing there. Merge this one. Pass it. No. Alrighty, plus one, right? Yeah. Some solid Pikachus there. Drowning in schoolwork. Oh, that's a bummer, Jay. Man, I do not miss school. I miss some parts of school. Mostly do not miss school. Later. Dunk arc names attribute has been an alias for fiction names since PyTest 2.3 is now deprecated. We need 2.3. That's such an old version of PyTest. That's funny. We were even using it before it got deprecated. In 2 places. Cool, cool. Seems good. Why? It seems good. I already looked at that one. Okay, so there's nothing interesting there. Well, there is interesting stuff. It's just not within the top 5 issues. See if there's anything in talks. Improve Talk's scalability to many repos by reducing its disk footprint. What? I don't even know what this would mean, because like Talks just creates virtual environments. I don't know. Unless you're like suggesting copying code from virtual environments out? Fragility? I mean, it's not wrong, I guess. Can't use system side packages. Cool, yeah. Hard link or symlink packages so they don't have multiple copies. Huh. The Ansible repo had 36 environments. Oh, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. I actually had like an idea around this at some point to do this for Docker. Because frequently you set up Docker and you have like multiple copies of the same thing. Well, not frequently, but sometimes you set up Docker and have multiple copies of the same thing. And it would be cool to do an idea that you would just hard link all those files so that you could save some disk space. But never really finished that. Man, there's so much stuff that I haven't done here. What's this one? Oh yeah. I don't think this is gonna make it into 3.8. So this issue is one that I'm look, I don't know if I've talked about this on stream yet. But I talk about this in real life all the time. In Python 2.6, you used to be able to do this. I mean, you can still do it now in Python 2.7. There was this nice helper called contextlib.nested, and you could pass in a bunch of different context managers. Double print. It's been so long since I've used it. But you could have like context 1, and then context 2, and then context 3, etc. And you could write kind of a nice form here, and like maybe you would have a very long context function name, which got split up like this, and had parameters here, whatever. But you would write code like this. And then in Python 2.7 and in Python, I think 3.0, they added a new syntax for context managers, which allowed multiple contexts at the same time. And most of the reason for that was that this could potentially be problematic under some situations. Like if this context was written poorly, it could enter this context and then this one could cause an exception. These would get constructed but never destroyed, and so if they performed side effects on initialization, they would never get cleaned up. Which arguably is a bug in those contexts. Like you shouldn't perform side effects on construction or context managers. But nothing's perfect, and so they deemed that this was bad enough to kill it. And so they replaced it with the multi-line width, or the multi-comma width statement. So if I took this example up here and tried to rewrite it in the new syntax, if I try to do this, just like naturally copy this and do this, this wouldn't work because this makes a tuple, and this tuple is not a context manager. So that's out. So then you could like introduce some backslashes to make it look not so bad. The only problem is these commas don't trigger a line continuation, so you have to put backslashes here as well. So then you just end up with this like hideous, ugly thing that has all these gross backslashes, and like code formatters freak out about this. Like black will take this and it'll stick all of these on one line. If I remember right, it'll just like do this and then this. I think this is what black does with that. Looks like this doesn't look terrible. It's not great. Oh, you're right. I typed while. I meant to type with. You got me. Thanks. Thanks, Breadstick Zero. At least you're the very first breadstick. But you can imagine, like, if this name was too long, then black would suddenly, like, black would not fix this because black tries to eliminate backslashes as much as possible. And so there isn't like a good solution for this. Also, you can like assign the result of the context manager here with an as statement, or as, it's not a statement, it's a thing, as expression, I guess. But you can't, so there's no like direct equivalent from this nice syntax up here. And so the proposal in that GitHub issue is to make this parenthesized form just work, so that you could have essentially what we had before. I did one too many. Which should essentially restore this syntax here, which I really like. The problem, at least the current problem on the issue and why it kind of is stalled, is there isn't, like, as a human I can look at this and say, oh yeah, obviously this parenthesis is matching this, and it's doing a multiple context manager here, or whatever. But the grammar format of Python prevents something like this, because this parenthesis could be ambiguous with, like, say, a tuple literal that you access the first element, and then as it parses in a single pass parse, you wouldn't know whether this, like, if you just saw this. When you parse this here, you don't know whether this is a with statement continuer or a tuple, and so the grammar is like not exactly decidable in that case. And also, like, you could just be parenthesizing this, and you can parenthesize indefinitely. It looks weird, but you can do it. And so, like, what should it do in this case? And then there's the other situation where, like, this is already valid syntax in the current version of Python, and so if that changed somehow, we have to make sure you don't break existing code. And anyway, there's a whole hullabaloo around this, but I hope one day to be able to write code like this and have it just kind of work. Can you write an extension similar to future f strings to solve this, or does it need to be fixed in the interpreter? How would that work? I guess like I could write a syntax transformation that takes this code here and like let's say this is the input, and it could automatically take this code and produce as output something like this. And like you would want to preserve the new lines, so it would need to know where to stick these backslashes. So like in theory, I could build something like this as an encoding hack, or like a good source transformer. The Python community really does not like runtime source transformation, and I get it. The JavaScript community like fucking eats that shit up. Like, please don't let me write JavaScript. Let me write something else and transform it. Like, let me please write HTML directly in my React code so that I can flat out markdown or markup real quick. But the Python community is like super, and like arguably so, like very very sus about code transformation. We love it in Nim, just saying. Nice. Well, I mean, more power to you. I wish the Python people would make a first class way to do it. And compile time. Well, yeah, Nim is compiled, so it has a bit of an advantage. And like, I mean, even in Go, like the source transformation was a first class. Now source transformation and like source like user space syntax sugar is a little bit different, but I don't know. Python doesn't really have nice built-in source transformation. I mean, it has lib2to3, which kind of works. But anyway, that's what this issue is about. How did I even open this up? Oh, I clicked on it for my to-do list. What are 3 concepts every programmer should learn? I mean, from a practical standpoint, you should learn an editor that you really, really like. Should also be good at using the shell. And probably learn a terminal editor. Those will be like 3 things that I think everyone should do. And if your terminal editor is your editor, then I don't know, learn how to Stack Overflow. Actually, I think one of the most important things as a programmer is being able to properly ask questions. And I think it's actually not that hard to ask questions well. Just a lot of people don't learn how to do it and like get by with low quality questions or getting spoon-fed a lot of the time. I once like made a presentation on this. Unfortunately, I lost it to closed source at Yelp, but it was around like how to approach. It started as like how to approach a problem, and then like kind of evolved into like how do I get to a point where I can communicate to someone else my issues such that they can reproduce it and solve it, or like reproduce it and help me. And like getting people and like what the talk ended up saying at the end was like 9 times out of 10, by trying to boil down your problem into a minimal case, you often find the actual problem and like don't actually need to consult someone else to fix it. Like you'll learn what's broken and you'll fix it without actually asking anyone. But that's like the ideal case. Like most, I don't want to say most, but like a lot of times you won't even be able to do it. Hey, what's up, your boy Jay? How's your Tuesday / Wednesday / whatever day of the week it is for you? How's that going? All right, well, let's actually work on something. Instead of just babbling about stuff. Oh, this was the issue that I made this morning? No, yesterday. Apparently slicing a tuple gives you an integer instead of a tuple, which is super awesome. Oh, Ethan already fixed this. Ethan's a good friend of mine. Sometimes he hangs out in the chat, although I haven't seen him in quite a while. Not the best, but not the worst Tuesday. What about you? My Tuesday's going alright. I raced a car on my bicycle today, and got them to go 50 miles an hour on a 25-mile-an-hour street. Little scary. Hey, what's up? Dope my flop. Thank you for the follow, friend. Every follow counts. Dope my flop. What does that even mean? That's such a good name, though. Hey, what's up, Piggy Dicers? The best way to fix a code problem you're having is to post on Stack Overflow, IRC, etc., because you'll inevitably solve it yourself once you ask for help. Yeah, that happens to me all the time. Although I don't post too much in the way of questions on Stack Overflow. Use splice expression. Any equals any type of any dot implementation. We don't know what the return type is beyond that it is a tuple of some sort. Could this be tuple union of all the things, maybe? I realized that I used ... here, but then I wanted an actual ... because tuple t ... means it's a uniform tuple. I'm just super frustrated with this CSD class, as I've spammed in your Discord. But other than school, I'm doing good. That's good. Oh yeah, the Jython shenanigans. What a mess. Oh man, I'm so bad I don't write any Jython, because holy shit, that's a broken programming language. One night we should look at the async.io code as a family, specifically what makes async.io.sleep different from regular sleep. I actually don't know much about async.io, so that might be something to look over. Yeah, my only experience with async.io is writing the shitty Twitch chatbot that trolls the channel. This is my async.io experience, well, my public async.io experience. I guess I wrote some async.io at Lyft, mostly maintaining other people's code. Peaky Dicers asks, did you do internships in college? I did. My first internship was between high school and college. I started as a QA engineer at a company called Infor. Still called the same thing. Infor is a multinational enterprise software company. It was super enterprisey. But I started as a QA engineer where my job, it was supposed to be like a 12-month internship, and the initial thing that they gave me to work on was this internal graphing schema tool that was called MyDay. A public tool. think it exists anymore. Maybe they still, I don't know, it demoed really well, which is why, like, that worked on a lot. Screenshot somewhere? I just want to see a screenshot. Anyway, so I worked on this tool called My Day, and I was shadowing what was called the quality assurance role, where I was supposed to document the structure of all of these different like graphs and chart things, and essentially just like navigate to them, scrape their schema, and then build a report from their schema. And during my first week, I realized that I could just like dump the database and like build reports programmatically. And I was like, my job was supposed to last 12 weeks, but I had automated all of that within the first week. And then they're like, you know, maybe we should have you do real development instead. And so I switched into a developer role instead of a QA role. And then I actually worked at Infor for 3 summers, something like that. But I started working on different projects. I switched to a different team the next summer. My new team worked on, it was an R&D team that worked on experimental software where basically execs would come up with crazy ideas and be like, here's half the time that it should take to implement this, build a prototype, and if we like it, we'll keep it. If we don't like it, whatever. You're an R&D team, so you can just kind of like piss away money. It's not a big deal. And that was actually pretty cool. I got the cool thing about it was like any project that they gave us, we basically had free reign to pick whatever technology to use, and so I basically used it as an excuse to like teach myself a bunch of different like programming things and like tools and database technologies. And it was right around that time where NoSQL was kind of a new hot thing. So I taught myself like how to manage MongoDB, which sounds funny now because it's like, Mongo, what a shitty database. But I don't know, it was like cool to like learn that. I also like taught myself how to write JavaScript better, how to like structure multi-language applications. I learned C#, and oh, I loved C#. Such a good language. I also learned a bit of Java. What else did I work on? I don't know, but I worked on a bunch of like greenfield projects, and I don't know that any of them launched. One of them was pretty cool. I built like this. I can show you like the prototype of it because I still have the prototype. Which I've shown this a couple times before. It was supposed to be like a navigation component where each element, and like the idea was, and this was like right when the iPad had came out as well. The idea was you wanted to be able to like take a web app and like scroll through a bunch of somethings. I don't even know. But this was like the demo for the navigation component, and like I basically built this carousel, and it looked way better when I actually finished it. But this was just like my 100-line demo, maybe a little bit more than 100 lines, a couple hundred lines. But I ended up like the director like came to me and was like, hey, we want to build this thing, and I went home and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm gonna try and like futz around with some JavaScript and see what I can get building. And the next week I came to him on Monday and was like, here's this thing that I built, what do you think? And he's like, let's make it happen. We're gonna fund this project. And like, so we built out this whole navigation. I worked with a designer to make this not look like shit, and it's actually pretty cool. That's not it. How does this work? If I remember right, these render off screen? Yeah, they do. Okay, so there's like this overflow hidden container box and this thing. Why is style left equals negative 38 pixels? I don't know how this renders properly because that just looks like, oh wait, that's this element. I see. So the wrapper is this element. Anyway, I built out this thing and like we built it into a real project. And then my last internship while I was in college was at Yelp. I did one summer there before working there full time. Oh, I'm so far behind on chat. But yeah, those are my internships. They were super helpful. I think like doing tech work is way more valuable than going to school. Which sounds bad, but I don't know. I think I learned way more by doing stuff than I ever did by sitting in a classroom. Worst part is I've been stuck on this week 5 program for 2 weeks and I don't feel like he even knows what the issue is. Oh. Feel free, man. Sometimes projects are just like bad projects and they can get you stuck on a little thing and you can never fix it. Especially when you're working with Jython, which is like 10 years old. Frustrates me to no end, man. Can't understand async IO. So I can kind of explain how it works a little bit. Get some MS Paint going here. Let's say we have like a typical program that's like print hello and print world. Something like this. You can kind of imagine like a normal synchronous program as like a tape where like I don't want to call it like a tape. You can imagine it as like a bunch of command blocks that run in order. So like, well, it should have been 4, but whatever. Let's assume that there's 2 prints here. Alright, then we'll get 4. And so the way the interpreter runs this is it just like brushy. It'll like see this statement, run that statement. It'll see this statement, it'll run that statement. It'll see this statement, it'll run that statement, etc. And like it just kind of runs along this. But the way async IO works is you have you kind of have 2 parts. Where's my rectangle again? You still have this like linear interpreter portion, but you also have like this queue of and green's an appropriate color. They often call them like green threads. Like there's a separate queue of work that's in the background, and there's a event loop that's running on this. And whenever you have inside your code over here, black. So let's say you have await and some like function. What this will do is like this code runs again in this linear stack, but this foo function will kind of insert some code into this this event queue. So let's say like you had an await there and you had some other piece of code that had a different await. They'll kind of stack up in this queue here, and whenever you await, you will release from this main interpreter and move more towards this like event loop. And it'll consume things off of this queue as the IO happens in the background. Man, this is such a shitty explanation. Does that like kind of make sense? And so like when you see like async IO.sleep, that's just a way to force the execution to go from the main interpreter to this event loop sort of region. And the reason why async IO can do stuff while the main interpreter is unblocked is it's mostly IO bound, so it's doing like network or disk or whatever, which doesn't require the interpreter bytecode to run. So it doesn't require like the global interpreter lock to hold on to the code objects as they're running. And so it's free to like do non-computational work in the background or something like that. Hopefully that kind of explains it a little bit. I don't know. But and then you have like other event loop technologies, like you have gevent, which has a similar like there's a gevent event loop, but what gevent does instead of having like special syntax that powers the context switching between the event loop and not, G-event just like monkey patches all of the functions that could produce IO and has them switch between what they call green threads, or not real threads, but they're ways that G-event can manage switching execution context. Coroutines kind of deal. But G-event just like injects its own like context switches into all of those functions. That's kind of how it works, a little bit ish. It's an oversimplification and not a great explanation, so sorry if this doesn't make sense, but that's as good as I'm gonna explain it right now. Oh no, not Mongo, yeah. Does anyone know if using a virtual machine makes using Jython harder? I don't know. I've never actually installed Jython, so I don't actually know how to use it at all. Mongo is easier than SQL. I mean, yeah, it's just key value lookup, so makes sense. Sarcastic Dante's going to sleep. Thanks for stopping by, friend. I know it's super early in the morning for you, so go get some rest. So pro bro. Code some Python. I don't even know what Python is. Esoteric programming language. Oh, it's the art lang. Ah, yes. There's an advertisement by, I don't know what the company's called. There's an advertisement at the train station that I've walked past every day for the last 2 months while it's been up. And they have a bunch of like little programming puzzles. So the company does like programming puzzles as a way to skip like phone screens for hiring and interviews and stuff. I don't remember what the company's called, but they're really annoying about advertising. But I've walked past their ads, and I don't know, I'm a nerd, so I've read them and I've like figured out all their puzzles. But one of the puzzles is they have a bunch of like syntax side by side, and it's like identify the programming language. And I was able to identify all of them except for this one because I don't know, literally don't know. Oh, but you're mentioning this because I opened up Paint. I got you now. It's connected now. See, I know what print does. It makes the machine copy what you have in the parentheses to the output. Yeah. I feel like that's all I've retained from this class, though. Oh no. Is it like JavaScript? The event loop? Yeah. JavaScript is almost entirely event loop based, so async IO like kind of mimics how that runs, with like callbacks and futures and stuff like that. Although JavaScript only recently got true async await, although they've been event looping since the beginning of time, just like not with good syntax to support it. So you would, like in JavaScript, you used to like pass a callback function into a function, and then it would call it when it was done. Async IO is kind of like that, in that like when you await, you're basically saying, hey, when my thing returns, then resume execution here with the return value. I guess that's a good way to think about it. The biggest thing I don't get is how there's so many paradigms, futures, tasks, etc. In Go, we just do go run and it's all handled. Yeah. I mean, you can build, like, Go's Go routines are kind of a primitive that you can build all of those other features on top of. Like, you can build futures and tasks and coroutines and all that other stuff using Go routines. But most of the times you don't need to, and you can just kind of get away with Go routine. And I'm out of water, which is great. But I'll hopefully I'll make it through the rest of the stream without needing more. Although it's hot and sweaty in San Mateo. Okay, what was I gonna do? Oh, I was looking at issues, and then I noticed this PR. 11 days ago. This one might be a fun one. So I wrote this tool called Dead while I was on an airplane. And it turned out like a significant number of people thought this was cool. It's like one of my, I think it's in my top 6? I don't know how I get to my profile. Maybe it's in my top like 7, maybe? No, it's one of my more popular things that I've built. And it was just like 15 minutes on an airplane. I think most of the reason I made this project was just so I could make this stupid pun, but anyway, Dead is a dead code detection tool. It's not great, but it can find some dead code. Let me show you some dead code. I'm pretty sure PyTest has some. PyTest. There's a lot of false positives, especially on large projects, but pip install. Oh, there's space. Dang it. Pip install dead. And you start just by running dead, I think. Oh, you have to tell it what the tests are. Oh, interesting. PyTest tests are in a weird location. Although apparently my repositories... Oh, I guess in my other repositories I use testing as a, like... I don't know why, but the term, like, yellow code has been... Like, my friend told me yellow code at some point, where it's, like, not exactly the green code that you're testing, and not exactly the red code that's your tests. But yellow is kind of, like, in between the tested and not tested code, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a term that people use, but anyway, so you can start with dead. I happen to know in PyTest you want to exclude the docs, because there's a bunch of just like junk in there that you don't need. It's not docs, it's doc. And then it scrapes all the code and then tells you a bunch of stuff that's unused. Not all of this is unused. Some of it is just like public APIs, or it's implementing an interface. Like these ones are all implementing the node visitor interface, and so Dead doesn't know about that. So it's just like, I've never seen this function called, so clearly it's not a thing. But like this might be dead. Not Bulop. Nope. So this is called by magic, and so Dead again doesn't know about this. There's also a lot of public APIs here that, which is one thing that I wanted to work on today, which is to make public APIs get referenced. RE import error name. Yeah, there you go. That's dead. But usually you can like filter this down to something that's reasonable. So if I like grep out EV source PyTest. I think PyTester is one of the ones that's big. And we can grep out a few others of these and get it down to a reasonable number. It's almost a reasonable number. And get rid of all of the visits. But anyway, Dead is a not great, but sometimes useful dead code tool. Node markers is never read. How big is this class? Internal structure for storing marks belonging to a node. Warning, unstable API. It is also completely unused. Remove node markers. Clearly not. Remove node markers, turn own markers into a list. Yeah, he forgot to delete the code, I guess. But anyways, you can use this to find some dead code and stuff. And the thing that I wanted to make happen today So dead happens to work on a Git repository just because I was super lazy. I want to make this not report F as dead code. Currently it says that this is dead. However, we're explicitly saying that F is a public API, and so we should exclude it from that section. At least that's the idea. Did I write tests? Did I make someone else write tests? Someone else wrote tests for my tool. I feel kind of bad. They wrote lots of tests for my code. I'm such a dick. Why did I make someone else write my tests? Maybe they volunteered? Let's see. Hey, what's up? I don't know how to pronounce those letters. Yuri Fiveware, thank you for the follow. Every follow counts. This PR. Well, I want to use dead for my CI. I add non-zero return value and disable comment. Oh, it looks like they just wrote tests without me telling them to, so fine with me. We eventually got there in the end. I was a little salty about this patch, I do remember that. But I didn't write the test, someone else did. And it has 100% test coverage, okay. Let's start by writing a test. Test is mark marked as used. Few typos in here. Async def class from import accessed by an attribute exported in all. Also do it as a list, because I know that's legal. Letters confusing. Yeah, how do you pronounce Y-R-I-E? Y-R-I-E. Pronunciation.
Eerie.
This is an automated one, so it's not necessarily Canada shown. US data not available. How do I pronounce this? Sorry. But yeah, so that should give us a failing test here. Oops. So let's try that test, see how that's going. Probably merge my other PR now. Actually, I'll do that later. Cool, failing tests. Awesome. Let's see how does dead work. Start at the bottom. We have a lot of code, a lot more code than I remember. We have some regexes to match stuff. Make a visitor. Oh yeah. Did tries to find stuff that are in setup.py, because you can specify like entry points using that. Mark those as used. And then it loops through all the file names, grabs their AST, and then visits them. Oh, and then visits the tokenized comments. Okay, so I think I mostly just have to modify this AST visitor here. Visit assigned, so if node dot let's see, if len node dot targets is equal to 1 and node target ast.name. So this is like, we're looking for an assignment to all, double under all. And node target id. I miss case in Python now. LF gets repetitive. Oh yeah, you have true switch statements in Vim or in nim. Is equal to all and this instance node dot, was it node dot value? I don't remember. I don't remember what it is, so we'll assign as an attribute targets. Right. Target 0. What do you mean doesn't have dot target? Oh, here we go. Fixed at one place, not in the other. Let's see. I miss case on does nim have pattern matching? Yes, yes it does. Why are some of the words different colors? Oh, so I have syntax highlighting on this is syntax highlighting. I have a couple of things that are highlighted specially. So the first is keywords. So like if and def none, which is that a keyword? I don't know. It's on the border. So the blue color, the light blue color is keywords. Function names are this medium blue. Built-ins I've highlighted as yellow, so that's everything in this list. Built-ins. So these will all get highlighted yellow. Although I think I didn't do the errors. Yeah, I didn't bother with the errors, so I have everything that's not an error gets highlighted as yellow. And then strings are green, and comments are red. But it's just a syntax highlighting here. I guess I can just tell you all of them from here. So functions get highlighted as bright blue, which I think is this color. And then keywords are cyan, which is false, none, true, and then all of the other keywords. This built-ins. Oh, also I generate these lists apparently. Do I have a script for that? Surely I have a script for that. Python. How do I generate them? Set nano RC keywords. Let's see if I have to update that for Python 3.8. Apparently, was it word diff? That's helpful, not at all. What's different? Get diff, word diff, aggressive. Word diff. Show a word diff. Using the mode to delimit changed words. By default, words are delimited by white space. Mode defaults to plain and must be one of color plain porcelain. Okay, word diff regex. Every non-overlapping match of the regex is considered a word. Okay, that's what I want. That's word diff regex equals dot. What changed? Why is it not? Did it add a new line? Like, what the hell's going? Oh, there's a literal new line here. Broken? Why? Why is that broken? Oh. Because I changed this to a F string, a raw F string. What is this supposed to do? What is this supposed to do? I just remove the raw string here and then double these escapes. Well, that's clearly not right. Oh wait, no, I was looking at here. Okay, so never mind. There's no new keywords in Python 3.8. That makes sense. I will fix this script. Fix set nano RC keywords. Nano plugin developer. Yeah, that's close enough. Have I tried lazy get? What is lazy get? Oh, here we go. The simple terminal UI for get commands. Is this the thing where you enter it and then... What? This looks like Emacs. Being too stubborn to use source tree because you'll never forgive Atlassian for making Jira. Oh, the spice. The spice is good. No, I have never used this. I think that's called GG though. I used this other like get like terminal thing where you would type like foo get or something and then you could just type commit mbar. It was like a get shell basically. Atlassian wants to know your location. Right. Doesn't work in Jupyter Notebook. Cool story, bro. Do you have a reproduction? I don't know what they want to tell me. No. Oh yeah, this would just be the Kenneth response. Just no. I absolutely hate issues that are like this. Doesn't work. What the fuck does doesn't work mean? Like, spend 15 minutes or 15 like spend like 5 minutes to like show me. Maybe I don't know what a Jupyter notebook is. It's not even spelled like that. With a space. I don't know. I absolutely hate issues like this. This is like my least favorite part of open source is like underspecified issues. Like doesn't work is not a bug report. Please don't. Get the fuck out. But also like someone asked this exact same thing the other day. How to use it in a shell. You can't. It only works for files. I'm probably gonna end up closing it as a dupe with this. But... Just use Python 3, my dude. You're already using Jupyter. Anyway. Grumble. Getting tilted about PRs. Right, so we wanted to actually... where's my test suite? I got distracted. Nope, that's all repos. That's not what I want. Oh, here we go. I'm already at my breakpoint. Perfect. Node.value. It was value. I was right. That's a good guess. Instance node.value. Either tuple or list. And all of the elements are strings. Since this is open source, don't complain, patch. Yeah. For string in node.value.else self.reads target node s.s, so the string value dot add self.definition stir. I think that's what I want. I don't remember what definition stir does. Definition stir. Definition stir. File line. Okay, so it gets the line number. Okay. That might be enough to make this test pass. Dope. That was not so hard. Apparently I did not do annotated design. Oh, I probably also didn't do... what is it called? Type annotations. Oh, maybe I did type annotations. Oh yeah, type annotations get covered by name. I didn't do type comments though. Oh, I did! When did I do that? I mean, I'm not complaining, but like... I'm pretty sure this fails my pie, now that I think about it. So we still have some work to do. Because... this is not always a stir. Yeah, expert has no attribute stir. Actually, probably just... drop for else in node.value.else if his instance else is t.stir. No, don't be too long. Okay, we're good. Yeah, type safety, although now we have an uncovered branch probably. Because this is only ever true in the test. I'm going to be missing a branch from this line. 98 to 97, I guess we're missing a branch from here to here. Or same deal. The one unfortunate thing about writing a test suite is that you have to keep writing tests for it. Visit underscore capital name fancy casing. Oh yeah, that's the convention for the AST visitor. Not my naming construct. But there's this base class called node visitor, and by default it defines these two functions, and then you can define. Where's the example? Yeah, then you define functions which are visit underscore and then the type name, and the node visitor will call these functions in like a multiple dispatch sort of fashion. Like as it traverses the tree, it'll call those for you. So yeah, it's weird casing, but it's not my fault. I would not name a function like this. This is just the construct used here. But something that's not a string into here, so that we get that bit of test covered. Sweet. Good, I got that out of the way. But feeling a little productive doing that. Let's see if there's any more typos. Let me just read through the test, see if there's any typos. Because apparently I didn't do that before, and I absolutely love getting typo fix PRs. Well, I have no problem with them, just sometimes they're annoying. Come on, man. All looks spelled mostly right. All dead. Mark names in all as used. I think this will actually improve the situation in PyTest, because PyTest has a lot of like weird names that are exported. PyTest, no, it's PyTest.py. Let's go. What do you mean? Did I fuck this up? I bet I wrote this. Else we are imported. No idea what that means. Oh. It got moved from down here, but now it means nothing. Just a random stray comment that just lost to the sands of time. I guess I can fix that. Name equals main. Set up collect fake module. What does that mean? Set up collect fake module. Oh, I see. It makes pytest.collect module. Huh. Didn't know that was a thing. Why you know transcoding? Oh, am I just stuck at 720 or like what's my here's my equality? It just says auto for me. I think I have a choice. Quality auto. Oh, I can do 720p or auto. Yeah, I don't have any transcoders. I don't have enough viewers. There's not enough people watching. It's fine. It's a chill midweek stream. I don't expect that many people to show up anyway. But you guys are all here, so thanks for stopping by. Else we are important. But yeah, my syntax highlighting sometimes does weird things. Like, well, it also helps me a lot. So like, here it's showing me that this function is clobbering a built-in. So it sometimes catches me like assigning to variables that shouldn't be assigned to because they would mask some built-in. Why is that yellow? Oh right, because exit is a built-in. It's not technically a built-in. So like, if you type Python and you type exit, it will work. And if you do Python-C exit, that will work. But it only gets set due to the site module. So if you do -S, which turns off site initialization, exit is no longer defined. And in fact, like, a lot of stuff doesn't really work without site. So like, exit doesn't work, help doesn't work, license doesn't work. There's just like a bunch of things that don't exist without the site module. Also, like, you can't import things. So if you wanted, or you can't import site packages. If you want to do like, identify was one of the tools that was installed. It's just not there. But normally, if you did import identify, you'd get a module. But that's site for you. I don't know why this doesn't happen always. This seems weird to me. I'm just working on my coding homework, hoping something will click. Oh man. If something clicks for my random rambling, be a bit of a special day then. I guess some of the stuff I say is useful, but a lot of it is just like my internal monologue being splatted out to the world. Alright, we're done with this, right? Typos. Make this pull request. How is it? 30? Only been streaming for 2.5 hours. I can maybe do one more thing. If it helps, I will take any sort of rambling. Well, you're staying positive, so that's good. Good. Issue 20. Which pre-commit checks the RST on your configuration? For PyTest? I don't use RST myself, but PyTest does. Let's see which one that is. I think we have a couple of them. No. Not want a bookmark. We have 3 things that check various things of RST. The first one is a pygraph hook that I wrote, because every time I write RST, I forget whether it's one backtick. Well, I don't forget anymore, but I used to forget it whether RST is single backticks or double backticks, because in Markdown it's single backticks, but in RST it's double backticks. And so I made this RST backticks thing that checks for the proper number of ticks, and it's just implemented as a regex. This regex apparently is enough to match incorrect backticks. See, this is a space followed by a single backtick followed by a character that's not a backtick repeated, and then not an underscore followed by a backtick followed by either the end of the string or something that's not an underscore. Apparently that's enough to match that. But we also use RST-lint, which restructured text lint GitHub. Be cool if they added first class for it for free commit. I wonder if anyone has asked for that yet. Free commit hook. Closed. Been using pre-commit. Oh. Aw, dang it. Although this guy seemed responsive, so maybe I could make a PR for this thing. Try. What could go wrong? Pre-commit hooks.yaml ID for executable calls. Is it called RST-lint? It is. RST-lint name. Your project have a name. I guess they call it restructured text lint. Oh, also available as this. Name entry RST-lint encoding UTF-8. That seems like a good default. Is that not the default? Encoding of the input file, e.g. UTF-8. I'm surprised that's not the default on it. Let's actually see what happens if we restructured text lint. Bit of a mouthful. Fastest way for me to put a snowman in a file. Wait, that wrote one character. Yeah, I didn't need encoding. If I do encoding ASCII, so we get crash. What happens if we install it in Python 2? Install. Not trying to type that again. .t.py. Seems to default to that. Oh, unless you say lang equals. Does it work? I bet it uses io.open. 98. Yes, it does indeed use io.open. Okay. So I won't set that. I'll let consumers set that. Give it a description. That's good enough. Do we have a thing for RST? Probably do. Surely we do. Yeah, we do. Types RST, language Python. I think that's all that's needed. Let me look at the PyTest config again. Files, we have a waitlist of things for reasons. Language Python, we additionally depend on these things. We don't need those. So we have ID, name, entry, language. Okay. This was created out of frustration with PyPI. It sucks finding out after uploading. It is being developed in conjunction with a Sublime text linter. Weird, but okay. Doesn't like pre-commit hooks, but will use Sublime text linters. Okay. Okay, seems good enough. I should also use try repo to check that. Try repo temp restructured text link files. Well, let's do all files, and it's going to crash on the Sphinx stuff, and that's fine. But that'll show that it's working. Cannot analyze code. Pigment's not found. Yeah, fine. This is all fine. Cool. If we did files, changelog slash. Oh, we have a code block in here apparently. Seems fine. Cool. Let me see what blurb I used last time I tried to shill this on someone else. Hello. Oh, I can just copy this. This would allow one to use restructured text dash lens. And I would hate typing that name over and over and over. One would use a configuration such as guys repo. T-links. Oh, this is why people need more pre-commit hooks. Juan Carlos has to go. Thank you for stopping by, friend. I'll hopefully see you around. But this is why we need more pre-commit hooks, because I just completely lean on them and fuck up my white space. But fixed. Work that, and push, and then make a PR. Anyway, hopefully they'll be amenable to that. If not, I guess I can explain it. And it looks like they're active, so cross my fingers. Hopefully we can add another thing to this is a rabbit hole. I was explaining what RST linting we use. The other RST linting, well, now one is gone, but the other thing we do is we make sure that our changelog files are named appropriately, because we have a very specific naming construct, and this just makes sure that they're matched properly. That's that. Let's see. Those some of my million tabs. Did I make that pure? These are the 2 PRs that we've done today. Which is honestly more than I usually do, so okay with that. But it is getting pretty late, and I have to get up tomorrow and go to work and stuff. So I'm gonna try and wind down here. If you missed any part of the stream and want to catch up on that or watch any previous streams, I usually upload them to YouTube. I've been doing this since mid-January, although I've been streaming a little bit longer than that. And so all of the prior streams are up here if you want to watch some of them. If you want to watch some that I would recommend over others, this Vexzoid memory leak one is a pretty fun one. What other one was a fun one? Oh, this one I went over my PyCon experience. That one was pretty good too. What other good ones were there? I really liked this stream, but not many people have watched it on YouTube. Maybe that's because a lot of people watched it live. But that one was pretty good. I also, if you want to understand how Debian packaging works, I did. That one was pretty good. But anyway, YouTube channel, chillin' that. If you want to keep up with the channel or hang out with other people who talk about code and memes and stuff, we have a Discord channel, which if you found Discord in the chat, there's a link to that. Feel free to join and hang out with us. We talk about code and stuff, and sometimes like just build projects and like answer questions and stuff. And it's kind of a cool community. I'm pretty happy with what it has been so far. I also announce the streams in that chat so that people can know about that. I also announce them on Twitter, which is twitter.com/codewithanthony. Lack of brand synergy there, but it's close enough, I guess. So I usually announce my streams like this and say like, I'll be streaming in 60 minutes. Hope to see you guys there. But anyway, that's... Oh, also stream schedule. Although this week is going to be different. This week I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to be out this weekend. But usually I stream on Saturdays at 1 p.m. and random days in the middle of the week, like today, at 6 p.m.-ish. But the midweek streams I usually just announce and don't really decide until the hour before that I'm going to do them. But that's my normal schedule. But next Saturday, and I think the Saturday after that, I'm skipping because I will be in Michigan, my hometown, hanging out with family and stuff, and going to a punk rock or a pop punk concert, which will be fun. But that's all I've got for this week. Let me find someone to raid, and I'll send you off to someone else.